Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kasa podcast. Today we have we have an interesting topic today, and I have my usual guest in the house. But yeah, happy Mother's Day. Before we I introduce them, happy Mother's Day to all wonderful moms. If you're not a wonderful mom, I'm sorry, my happy Mother's Day is not going to you. Do better, and next year I might probably try and wish you a happy Mother's Day. So yeah, let me bring my guests into the studio, guys.
Hmm.
How are you guys
We're lit. We're
doing?
lit.
Hmm.
We're
Hmm.
lit.
I can't even say anything. But before I go on,
Why?
I'm not going to be like AY. At the top of the show, I just love to send my love and appreciation to all the wonderful moms around the world, including my
That's exactly what
mom.
I said.
Mom,
Oh, the wonderful
can,
moms.
can I wish my mom first, and then you can go
Okay,
and talk
okay.
about your not so wonderful mom. But my wonderful mom, Her Royal Highness Mama T herself, the queen herself. Happy Mother's Day. I know I talked to you this today, and I told you to watch the show so that I can tell the whole world. This is me signaling how much I love my mom. The rest of you can
Eesh.
carry on.
I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful moms out there
Mhm,
doing great jobs,
mhm.
trying their best, making the world a better place, raising what they say the future leaders, and you know, go
Yeah.
moms.
Anyway,
Oh well.
hmm.
Well, how have you guys been? How have you guys been?
Um,
How have we guys been?
Yeah.
eating. I've been
We've been
eating.
good. It's been a good week. It's been a good week for me. It's been good.
Hey, what did you get into?
What did I get into? Prepared
Mm-hmm.
for next week for the most part. And then I got to see Trevor, which was a good one. I think
Oh, when did you see Trevor?
it's Friday. Friday night. I went to see Trevor Noah. And it was great.
Mm.
I died laughing from the first minute to the end. I think it's going to be his best show ever. So, guys, look out for this year's special. It's going to be amazing.
Okay.
Oh wait, what? They taped it for Netflix something?
No, I don't think that was the taping, but I mean, he's doing the tour, and one of the cities is going to be taped for his Netflix special or whoever
Oh,
he has the deal with.
oh.
I think he has a Netflix deal, right?
I think so.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
Yeah,
he's had
it's
one
all he's
before.
always on Netflix. So yeah,
So, so, oh man, it should have been the one in Nola, so
I know,
you
right?
could have seen you in the audience.
And for sure you would have seen me because hey, I was
You
that
had,
I was
you had
that
good,
guy.
you had good seats.
I did have some very wonderful seats. Like it was really good. It was a good seat
Yeah.
for a spur of the moment purchase like that. And yeah, it,
Oh,
Hmm.
it, it was. I was tossed between. I was thinking I was gonna go see what's his name, Cat Williams, because
that's my favorite.
he's one of my favorite comedians.
He's
But
my number one,
a
actually.
thing, and
So
AY
what
and I
changed?
talked. AY and I talked about this, and I'm going to say something. Please, Cat Williams fans, please don't beat me up. But I know
You're not
Cat
gonna say
Williams
it.
fans, right? I have seen
Mhm.
Cat Williams fans, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be trouble sometimes. So hey, I would go with a chill
Oh my
crowd.
god, not on my show. Anyway. Chrissy, how was your week? I'm not gonna allow you to
Um,
misquote you.
oh, it was good. It was good. Just work and living, work, eating, try to exercise. I'm getting old now, so I'm back in the gym. Try to exercise. Trying to get back to where I used to be or whatever. Or try to not where I used to be. No, scratch that. I'm trying to build on where I am now. Not where I used to be. That's in the past. But yeah, I like your hair. Is it is it ginger?
Yep.
Is it red? Is it you just pulled up on us like oh yeah, colorful.
Oh
See, we
yeah,
have the
this
same hair. My hat and your
no, Chrissy, you're colorblind, and I think you should
Ouch.
stay away from colors.
I'm actually
It's
Ouch.
not
colorblind.
the same. You
Yeah.
are. Oh, I knew it.
And yeah,
So
now
this
you're
is
making
ginger.
fun. You're making fun of him.
No.
I
Actually,
know
it is.
she's using my disability to
Yeah,
make fun of me.
isn't that toxic?
It is toxic. If
Come
yeah,
on.
if yeah is toxic.
Okay, okay.
I
This is
think
where
she
we
is.
ended.
I
This
think
is
she
where we
is.
ended. I'm not anything close to
Yeah.
toxic. I'm the sweetest and wonderful person you ever
But you
meet
can
in
be
your
sweet and
life.
still toxic, innit?
Mhm.
No, you can't be sweet and toxic. You can't be both. It's mutually
Say that to a diabetic with a
exclusive.
candy. Just saying.
Oh my god. Anyway,
It can be
anyway.
sweet and bad
Today,
for you.
today, guys, today we're gonna talk about toxic relationship. Okay.
Mhm.
So be it romantic relationship, work relationship, family relationship, friendship, situationships, any kind of ship you
Relationship.
Hmm.
find yourself
Any
in.
kind of ship or boat you
Wait,
find
but,
yourself.
Both.
but wait, AY, if we're going to be talking about toxic relationship, why are Kwesi and I here? I mean, you can do this all by yourself.
Ouch! Ouch! Shot fired! Pow! 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 Shot fired!
I was just
Hey,
being
why you're not
truthful.
just gonna sit there and let him
I
just
was just being
how
Kojo,
much you
truthful.
like that? Come on.
Kojo, I'm gonna kick your ass out of my studio. If
I
you
know you
if you
can
say
do it.
anything
That's why
again,
I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
why
kick
did you
you
bring
out.
us here?
We're just a click of a button.
Yeah,
You
you'll be
know
out.
You know,
the
You'll be
ejection button. You
out.
could be out
you
like
could have
that.
you know
You'll be out.
you could have turned this into a seminar and then you teach us your ways. I don't know. You don't have to get newbies like Kwesi and I who know nothing about being
Enough.
toxic in
Okay,
your
okay.
Mhm.
studio.
Let's get back to the topic, guys, before they take over the show.
Hmm.
Do you guys think you're toxic? Because you don't answer, because you are. I would ask Chrissy.
I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm not toxic, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
From looking through my eyes, my point of
Hmm.
view, I'm
Hmm.
not toxic, and I don't know if people know they are toxic because I think toxic is it's subjective, right?
Mhm.
So to you, are you toxic? Do you think you're a toxic person?
No, no, I don't. I'm not. I'm not. I met some people. Maybe I don't know, but to me, I'm not. Right? I don't bring no
Mm,
drama. I don't do no. I don't bother people. So
Hmm.
I barely
mm,
bother anybody. So I don't know what would make me toxic. But
toxic. Okay.
Okay.
it's just
Okay.
Kojo, you are toxic. Can you tell us some of your traits
and why?
that makes you makes you
Okay,
I'm not
you
going
are
to ask
toxic.
you. You
Why are
are.
you toxic?
Is why are you toxic and why do you keep being a toxic person?
Thank you for the question. Once again, you've gone to demonstrate what I was talking about. If you know so much about toxicity, why are we here? I don't think I would call myself toxic. And again, I don't think toxic is a state of being. You can't perpetually be toxic. So you can be a great, wonderful, lovely person,
Have
but
you
you
met
Mm,
can.
you? Have you met you?
Yes, I kind of have, and I go about introducing me to a lot of wonderful people, and I
mm,
get some very wonderful reviews. It's only until I meet people like Ifeanyi Boa who would say things like, but again, I don't think, and even in talking about relationships, right? I don't think
Mhm.
relationships, well, some can entirely be toxic, but sometimes in certain moments under certain conditions, your relationship can be toxic, right? And so I don't think that people walking around the world like 95% or 100% of the time toxic. They often dead. Most people are nice
Mhm.
people, and then some situations arise, and then they act in a certain way, which can be
mhm,
considered toxic. And so can I be put in positions where my attitudes can be perceived as toxic to people? Yes. Yes. I have been in one or two situations where I knew right after I had acted, hmm, I could have done better. This didn't elevate
mm,
the conversation, didn't help anybody. You're being toxic. Get your toxic self in
Mhm.
check. And I do check myself sometimes.
check yourself
Okay,
before you wreck
I don't
yourself.
know.
I do check myself.
I think you put up some definitions that I think we should address, right? Of
Mhm.
course, I don't think anyone is perpetually toxic. People have
Unless,
their
of course, it's a
positive
fair
side.
boy.
People have their toxic side, and then their good sides, right? But
Mm,
whenever your
different
toxic sides,
personalities.
whenever that aspect of you, even if it's one in like 2 years, right? Whenever that behavior shows and it causes a lot of trauma or trouble or pain to
Mhm.
another person. We look at the weight of that behavior as compared to all the nice things you've done, because you could have just one terrible trait
Mhm.
and then it could just nullify all the good things you've done.
Everything. Mm.
But that's
Yes,
how
Average.
we
is
as
is the
humans,
weight
right?
we put on
Mm.
the
We as
behavior.
humans, we as humans, and how we are. Like you could, because I remember it was an exercise that I had a physics professor that we
Mm-hmm,
were having a conversation and did his exercise where he took like an A4, the
mm-hmm,
white papers you put in the printer. He grabbed one, then he drew a circle, right? And then he was like,
mm-hmm,
"What do I see in the circle?" Right? And I'm like, "There's nothing in there.
Mhm.
You just drew a circle. There's none, right?" Then he put a dot in the middle of the circle. He said, "Now what you see?" And I'm like, "A dot." And he was like, "That's how life is. The empty circle represent every good thing that you've done." Right? People usually
mm-hmm,
a lot of people don't see the moment you put one little dot in there. That is what
Yep.
it
Yep.
catches everybody's eye, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
it's 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 human nature, right? You think, oh, I'm
Hmm.
not toxic,
Mm.
right? Or you doing all the good, and then one time somebody pushes your button, right? You're human. Every
mm-hmm,
human being has a breaking point.
Mhm.
You're not a
Mhm.
yeah,
machine, right? And
yeah.
sometimes maybe you're tired, they call you in a bad mood, and you say one wrong thing, and oh, there you go. It's what, like, this is
Well, again, Chrissy, I think it's the weight of what you do. Because it could be very, very, you know, sweet, kind, but your
Mm.
toxic side could also be very
Mm.
terrible.
Mm.
I
Interesting.
Like,
mean,
yeah,
I guess
very
you have a
terrible.
point, yeah, right?
So
Yeah.
just to add something to what Kwesi said, right? Kwesi, I think again, it's just a function of survival, right? The reason why
Mhm.
we don't see the blank canvas without the dot is most often it doesn't cause any harm to us. Our awareness and our perception of danger sometimes is even overblown, but it's what keeps us alive, right?
Mhm.
You know, the old rustling in the bush. If you think it's a lion and you run, you live. If you know, if you don't think it's a lion, if you don't think the worst, and then you sit around, a lion is going to maul you, right? I think generally in our relationships, in our experiences, uh, we tend to put too much weight on the bad things people do. Like, yes, they can do a million amazing, wonderful things, and like what AY was saying,
Mhm.
one thing that's toxic sometimes makes everything else, blows everything else out of water, right? But it also helps us survive. Our ability to sort of hold these things and put weights on these things is um as much as we should be grateful for the good things that happen, most of them the good things don't leave marks.
It doesn't.
Right.
It really doesn't. But
Mhm.
what are
Train.
some
We
of
gotta train our minds.
Mm,
we
mm,
have to. We
mm.
have to. I was thinking
Interesting.
of some of the traits we could see, right? Even in ourselves, because
Mhm.
with this particular topic, I think it's a little bit unique.
Mm,
Like how each one of us define toxic behavior. Like to
Mm.
me, what I'll see to say, oh, this is toxic to somebody is perfectly fine for them. You know, some
Yep.
people need some drama to
Mhm.
stay stable. Right.
Active.
So
Active.
I want to ask you guys, what are some of the traits you see or you recognize and all of it, you're like, okay, this is toxic. I can't deal with this.
hmm. Before we go ahead, would we like to insert the disclaimer at this point? Because we're going to be discussing one opinions and ideas.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah.
trained psychologists,
Definitely.
right? And the fact that we
Hmm.
say certain things and you see some of these things in your relationship doesn't mean we're calling your relationship toxic.
No.
These are just things that could often be associated with toxicity. First things first, so that
Yeah.
I
nobody comes
see.
and say we're going to call their
I see.
relationship
I
toxic.
see the lawyers texted you this morning.
Yep, yep. I have to make sure we stay out of jail. So again, these are just our opinions and these are what we think about some of these things. But I would like to start with uh, intensity. When
Hmm.
relationships become that adrenaline pushed, like when
Hmm.
everything is like 100, like if you can't breathe in your relationship, and it's like when you guys are happy, it's like happy to the hilt. And when you're sad, it's like turn off the lights. I'm not going to go out. I'm in a
Yeah.
dark, depressed.
All or
Room.
nothing. All or nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
When you don't have that, calibration of your relationship where things can be steady, but you guys are either way up on the moon or way down in the doldrums. I think when things get too intense, almost every decision feels like it's going to be your last one. Everything feels like game 7, 2 seconds on the clock, you are the free throw line. It's too much,
Mm.
right? And sometimes that kind of intensity can be toxic. It might not you guys might not necessarily be doing anything bad per se, but just the intensity, that everything sort
Mm-hmm.
of shrinks into, the next thing that comes out of my mouth is going to make this relationship. We're either going to go on a holiday or we're going to stay in the room locked up depressed for 5
No,
days
in
based on,
jail.
like, exactly, when it's just that intense. I think it can be very toxic.
That could be fun for people, though. Some people.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And again, it's good you pointed out. That's what some people live for. They live for the thrill, they
Yeah.
want to live on the edge. Some people even choose careers just so that, adrenaline junkies, they want to be ER doctors or something. Bring me the gore. Like they don't know what's coming through the door and that excites them. If
Mm.
that's your thing, that's you. But if your relationship is constantly, like if you're with someone for 6 months and every day has been living on the edge, it's just difficult and very it's not easy to
At some point,
sustain.
you're gonna go over.
Yeah, yeah.
So for you, it's more about the intensity, how things
it
happen. You
can
want
be it
things.
can be one of the signs.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No, we're not saying if you see this it's toxic, but one of the signs can be that intensity. Like everything feels like it's make or break for your relationship. There's no steady
Mm,
state. There's never a time where you can relax. It's like go 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 can be bad for
interesting.
you.
Interesting. Chrissy, do you agree to what Kuja is saying, or do you think it's also one
Um,
of the things to
I
look out
mean,
for?
from my view, well, if you ask me what do I think toxic is or what, it's um, it's that whole if he doesn't beat me, he doesn't love me, he doesn't yell at me, he doesn't love me, and yo, we too old for this, man. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, we gotta chill. I like to kick my feet up and
Mm,
chill.
mm,
Life is hard itself. It's hard out here on the streets. So
I agree.
you don't those things are just it's crazy,
mm,
violence. Like I never, and I don't think anybody should condone violence, right? It's a
mm,
bad thing. Like
mm,
hitting people, yelling at people, like
mhm,
talking down on people. Like
mhm.
no, 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 no. Looking down on people. The only time you should look down on somebody is when you're
Yeah,
pulling them
trying
up.
to help them up. Yep.
That's the only time you look down on people, when
Mm,
you're pulling them up to where you are or up
mm, mm,
from where you are. But
mm,
it's just, but it's sad, right? People, I mean, I've seen in real life, I mean, I've seen people that they think it's cute, right? They like
mhm,
that, it's cute. Even when we're younger and we'll go out, right, to the clubs, and club is done, and maybe um you just say hi to somebody, or you just look at somebody, and all of a sudden
mhm,
their boyfriend or girlfriend comes around, and you can't look at him. Like, dude, I'm not, no, no, no disrespect. I'm not Stevie. Like, what? I'm blind. I'm
Mm-hmm.
supposed to close my eyes while I'm around. Like, we in public, right? I can't
mhm,
walk
Mm-hmm.
around with my eyes closed. So I am
mhm,
going to look at somebody,
mhm,
right? And somebody's going to look at me.
Definitely.
Like, there's a difference between if I'm being disrespectful to your lady, right? But if
mhm,
I turn around
Mm-hmm.
and look at somebody, like, so there are people that think that's cute, right? We got to fight. We got to do this, and those things. I think we should retire all those bad
And
behaviors and
I'm glad I'm glad Chrissy mentioned this,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Saying that people think fighting is cute and all
mm,
that. Usually I think sometimes it's the environment. You've seen
mm,
something so much you feel like, oh,
mm,
this is normal,
yeah,
mm.
right?
we are a product of our environment.
Environment,
Mm.
Yeah.
exactly. And sometimes we tend we are not able to identify some of our traits to be
Mm,
toxic, like
mm,
wanting some fight,
Oh,
violence
yeah, it
in
becomes
certain areas.
normal to you.
You
So
become so normal, you don't see it.
hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. And again, well, anyway, if you would let me,
Okay.
this might not necessarily be directly related to your conversation. I
Okay.
just want to say something at this point, and if you're listening, please forgive me. We forgot at the beginning of the show to talk about one of the most important toxic relationships in the world.
What is that?
What is
Kwesi,
that?
I think one of the most important toxic relationships in the world is the relationship between Baby Yoda and memes. I almost forgot to
Oh
talk
my
about how
god.
toxic that can be, but
Oh my god.
in a given day, I see
Like
more
a
than
thousand
50
memes.
Baby Yoda memes. That is toxic.
You have
Like,
a toxic relationship with memes. That
yes.
is, you
Yes.
have a toxic
I
relationship with
wanted to
memes.
point that out before we continued. But you
But the word toxic is
Mhm.
bad, right?
Huh.
It's can the question I want to. I mean, you asked me a question, but I'm asking you guys too, and in the audience, if you listen to us, like I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Can toxic be ever be good? I don't think so. Me, I
Mm-mm.
don't. If you think, give me example why
Mm-mm.
in a situation where the word toxic, because even in chemistry, it's bad, right?
Hmm.
A toxic
In
is like
science,
poison.
yeah,
Mhm.
in
It's like
science, it's bad.
poison. So I
Poisonous,
don't
yeah.
think.
It's so I don't know. It is. I don't think it's a good word,
Mm.
right? Nothing really good comes around whatever or comes with
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
So I like to hear other people, right?
Mhm.
Perspective. If you
Mhm.
think something we can associate it with something good,
Good.
give us example of it,
Mm.
right? Because
Uh,
I don't think there's anything on the face of the earth that we can.
I think it's good you
that's
brought this up. Some
that's
people might
really
have
good.
positive toxic
Mm-mm.
relationship.
Mm-mm.
Positive.
Mm-mm.
It's
That's
double
what we're
negative,
talking
like
about. That
positive,
what is
toxic.
that?
He's like, what does that even
Positive
mean?
Yeah,
toxic
what does that even mean?
relationship.
Again, I'm with Kwesi on this one. I really want to know an instance in which someone would say, "Oh, that's toxic, but great."
Yeah, like
I don't know of anything like that, and so
it's like
please
when people say, "Oh, he's mean, but he's kind of good mean." Like,
just
what do you like? What do you?
yeah, I
What
don't
does
get
that
it
mean?
too. Please, if anyone
Right?
knows that in the comment section, please let us know. Let us know. But you mentioned possessiveness, right? As one of those, like overly possessive,
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
again, I really want us to reiterate it. Please, it's not that if your boyfriend is possessive, you're in a toxic relationship, or your girlfriend is possessive. No, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying sometimes these traits come together, right? They just like
Mhm.
it's a combination of all these
Different
minor,
things.
minor
Yeah.
things. But for me, it comes down to the intensity again, the intensity of their possessiveness. There's chill possessive, there's a comment possessive, and then there's a I would come and stomp on whoever is talking to you. I would come and flex my muscles and kind of possessive, like the intensity. None of it is cute. Some people think it's cute that your boyfriend is fighting over you, your girlfriend is fighting over you. Please, if I'm dating you and we go somewhere and you pick a fight, you catch me at home. I'm not even going to ask anything, no separation, nothing. I'll just skedaddle away because I don't believe people should fight. And number two, if people should fight as a theory, I don't think the fighting should occur in this region. Like this does not fight, please.
Nah, I
If you see if you see me in the gym working out, it's just for decoration, please. I'm not training for anything. It's just for
like I say,
decoration.
I have a good skin. I intend to keep it. I don't want
Yeah.
anybody to cut me. I don't
Yeah.
want to cut anybody. I don't
Mm-mm,
want bruises.
mm-mm,
Like
mm-mm.
I'm soft
Oh
life,
my god,
soft
you guys
life.
are
Stuff
So,
like,
killing
and that's the
me.
thing. AY, we
yeah,
want our internal organs to say
yeah,
internal. Like I
yeah,
don't even want to, nothing
yeah,
inside should come out. Like just stay inside.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what we're made for. Not
I don't go to the
Ah.
gym because I want to fight because I can
mm,
so I be able to carry the groceries inside.
thank you.
That is
That's
why I
all.
do bicep exercise just to carry my groceries inside.
Yeah.
I will be able to carry my groceries.
You
That's
people
it.
are killing me right now. You
But
guys
But
are killing me.
AY, while we're on the killing, I wanted to show you guys something.
But
Guys, uh,
I was asked what I look for in a relationship. Apparently, a way out was not the right answer. It's not the right answer?
how is this not the right answer? I mean, it's a first date. You're with this person. You're getting to know each other, and they ask that question. What do you look for in a relationship? Some people would say toxic. Some people are telling you what they look out for, a way out. Like, listen, bro.
yeah,
Sometimes
me,
you need that way out.
my
Sometimes, just
my
sometimes.
my answer is I don't know.
And again, for those
You
of
don't
you,
know.
For those
Yeah.
of you listening, right, this meme had Baby Yoda in there. And this is why I'm saying Baby Yoda and memes, the toxic relationship is just, we have to free Baby Yoda. By the end of this show, we have to find a way to free Baby Yoda because I can't. I can't. And for those of you who tuned in, you're going to be seeing a lot of these memes pop up. Please. It's not if you're a worse fault. It's just this one.
You have a terrible relationship with Baby Yoda.
I love
Oh
Baby
my
Yoda.
god, the comment section is popping. I think I should
Mm,
read a few comments and then we'll get back to it.
mm,
And so I don't know how. Okay, welcome to the Casa podcast, everyone.
mm.
If you just tune in, we're talking about toxic relationship. Kindly like this and then share with your friends to watch. You might probably be in a toxic relationship. We will help you identify it. We can't tell you what to do afterwards. But yeah, this is just to help you understand what kinds of traits you should look out for. And Kojo, who is supposed to be in the studio, is saying, I'm killing my hair again. Thank you. Michael is just passing. Michael, how are you
Well,
doing?
he's been walking for a while now. It's
I
been
know, I know.
Michael,
I
keep
know,
walking. Keep walking.
I know he's excited because
Johnny
today
Johnny
Arsenal
Walker.
lost. Arsenal lost today, so I know he's excited. Rashid is back with the Gen Z saga again. Rashid, what should we do for you? Gen Zs don't know what diabetes is about, Kujo. We do. Okay, we just don't have diabetes, but we
Disease.
do.
Hmm.
We know what it is.
Hmm.
And Michael is cracking up here. And Rashid is here again. He said, if he is a toxic presenter,
Mm-hmm.
no way. All gingered up with the attitude and the hair, shaking
Mm-hmm.
my.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. I'm here for it.
The classic red-headed stepchild.
Oh, my goodness. Please. Chrissy said Michelado is a toxic kin. I've not seen a toxic associated to a kin, but let's say Michael is that person.
Most kings
Could
are
you?
toxic.
Oh, really?
Look through history.
Could you just? Could you just identify what you did as toxic is a sign that you aren't toxic?
Mm, thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you.
I don't agree, but we'll get back to that. Toxic people don't see what they did as wrong, and some even become victims.
Mm,
That I agree.
mm,
Mm.
That I agree. And Kojo said, if you're in a toxic relationship with looking good, yeah, I think that is a toxic relationship. I
and it
have
has to
to look
end.
it. It has to. It has to. Just know now. When I die, it can end when I die.
Oh, now you just got
Anyway,
morbid.
I think we should address Rashid's with this comment. He said, just identifying you are toxic is a sign that you aren't toxic. How true is this, guys?
Mm.
How do
Uh,
you
eh,
identify yourself, Rashid? Can you clarify? Like,
No,
no,
he's saying that.
it's a good start, right? I think for you to not be toxic, being aware,
oh, he said
being
defining
aware of
what,
your
identifying
actions, right?
what. Okay.
Yeah, like it's very helpful. A lot of people are unaware of their toxicity, and that I think that's the point Rashid is making, right?
Yeah,
That most
yeah.
often people just do things and just act like them. I'll give you a good example. One of
Mm-hmm,
the things I hear toxic people say a lot is,
mm-hmm.
"Hey, I'm just blunt. I just say the truth as it is." No,
That's
you just
that's Chrissy. You should
horrid.
just have mentioned
You,
Chrissy's name.
Oh no, I
But
don't. I don't.
I don't
I don't
think
think I
Kwesi does
do
that,
that.
and I wasn't going to throw anybody under the bus.
I
But
don't think I do that.
hmm. But
It's
yeah, there are ways to sort of be self-aware, be more aware of your actions and how they affect
yeah,
other
yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah.
And I think a lot of toxic people don't even know, and it makes it very difficult. And like you're saying,
Now, hold on, could you
hmm,
back to that? Now, what I do agree is back to what if he has said I do. What I do agree is every action has a reaction, right?
mhm,
So
mm-hmm,
if you do something really bad, and we cannot predict how other people will react to
mhm,
us. You
mm-hmm,
can't control it, right? So
mm-hmm.
as they say, f around and find out,
mhm,
right? You play around, you're gonna find. If you keep poking the bear, you will find out what the bear will do to you.
mm,
That I do support.
Mm.
that I do support. That don't be poking people, and
You'd find out.
so
Yeah.
you can't spit on somebody and then expect them to just
So,
look at you. It's a felony to even spit on somebody.
so wait, with the thing you just brought, it brought up one of the things I feel toxic people do a lot:
What they do?
Well,
manipulation. Right?
Mm,
Toxic
hmm.
mhm,
people are adept at manipulating the partners. Right? Um, even when they did something, they can find a way to make you feel ridiculously terrible about the thing they did. That you
Oh
begin,
yes,
you begin to apologize for
yes.
things that you shouldn't be. I
oh,
think manipulation is one sign, and again, it, it's not as clean cut like what to call manipulation and what real manipulation is, because sometimes we meet people who make us change certain things about ourselves, right?
mhm,
And at
Hmm.
the time we're making the change, maybe it's not easy. Sometimes it's really hard to make those changes, but
Hmm.
we're changing for the better. And at that point, people can say, "Oh,
Hmm.
you're being manipulated. Why are you changing who you are? Why are you changing?"
Yeah,
That
yeah.
could be one thing, and that's why even the idea, the notion that someone is manipulating you
Hmm.
is very difficult, and that's why they are trained people to sort of pass these out. But
Hmm.
if you have, again, think of these things, qualities and traits of toxic relationships we're sharing, as say the symptoms, right? If you have
Hmm.
certain symptoms, you can be presenting a certain disease, right? It doesn't mean that
Yeah.
once you have it, you have the disease, but you know, as you get more and more of these symptoms together, you might be suffering from what we in the industry call a toxic relationship.
But I want to address something Chrissy mentioned when I read
Mm,
Rashid's comment about
mm,
him saying just identifying
mhm,
um a trait or what you did as toxic means
mhm,
you're not toxic. I disagree. That is
mm,
what people use to
to
manipulate
manipulate.
others.
Mhm,
That, oh,
mhm,
I know what I did is wrong. Why the hell did you do it then? Right? You've
hmm,
done it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm trying to be better. And but they keep doing the same thing, and they come back to be like, oh yeah, I
mm,
know this trait is really bad. And
mm.
the fact that you've identified it does not make you less toxic. You're still a toxic human being, Rashid.
So,
Even
so
if you're able to identify it, not able to identify it, the fact that you keep doing that, to me, you're toxic.
I have a slight pushback. There's
What's
identifying
that?
something and using something. There's
mhm,
identifying you have a problem and using your problem as a crutch. They're two very different things. Yes,
Mm-hmm,
you have to be self-aware to know when your actions are toxic. And the
mm-hmm,
first step to not being toxic is being able to tell when your
mm-hmm,
actions can be toxic. However, if you capitalize on that
mm-hmm,
and you go about scheming and working, knowing very well, okay, I'd apologize. I'd
mm-hmm.
give them some roses. My thoughts and prayers will go to these victims.
Yeah.
Then you're not, there's one thing being aware, and there's one
It's
thing
more like
using.
weaponizing. Yeah, it's
Yes.
like
So
you
when you start
weaponizing that.
using this awareness, right?
Yep,
And
yep,
that is what I was
yep.
pointing at. When people, even before they manipulate you, tell you, listen, people say I'm very manipulative, but I don't intend to manipulate. Then they proceed to manipulate you.
Nope.
Right, right. It's ridiculous. It's like MLM people, these multi level marketing people. I'm not here to sell you any product. Just go and bring two friends who are going to sell this product. You won't sell the product. Just bring two people to come and sell. And that's how I feel about people who weaponize these things. Right? They know
Mm-hmm.
something that's wrong with them. Right? And in most cases, they even make it a point to look. I don't know how to look. They make it look like they're being vulnerable. They're sharing with you some struggle, some weakness. They might even weep about it. Man, when people come around me, I just manipulate them and then they weep. But I want to stop. I really don't want to manipulate.
but
And
I
then they
don't know.
use
But I
that to
don't know how.
manipulate you. They just use exactly that to manipulate you. And so I don't know. But knowing is not the bad thing. It's weaponizing it.
It's
That's where
not.
it
Yeah,
becomes.
definitely, it's
That's where
not.
it becomes the
Usually,
problem.
yeah, that is what I'm saying. If you know it, it's the first step.
Hmm.
But usually, to that first step, people use it to do other terrible things,
Yep.
and that doesn't stop you from being a toxic person. The fact that, oh,
Mm,
I know it's a first step, yeah, but
mm.
then what?
So
So I
so
just wanted to point that out.
mm.
Because you're going to say something.
I have this trait. I have a next trait, right? And it's a bit tricky for me, right?
Well,
It's a sign. So this is one of those. I hate to quote Baumia on this, but this is one of those word logic ideas, right? When you know
mm-hmm.
Wait,
the end,
which Baumia?
the vice
The
president
one we all
Baumia.
know.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
Baumia said that if your fundamentals are wrong, the exchange rate will expose you. But if the
yeah,
exchange rates are right,
Baupizi.
it is warped logic to go back. Again, this is not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to say that in a post-mortem of a toxic relationship, you
Mm-hmm.
often see these things, right? And the trait
Mm-hmm.
is isolation. If your relationship feels like it's cutting you off from your support system. And I'm saying this because the only way we know this is when you do a post-mortem of a toxic relationship. There are sometimes people come into your life, and there are some people in your life who need to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? A
Amen.
good,
Hallelujah.
yeah,
Amen.
a good
Preach,
starting
preach,
point is your
brother.
exes. Sometimes, like when there's someone new in your life, your exes have to go. I'm sorry. There are some
Yeah,
friends
yes,
and some people
sir.
who
Yes.
just are not good around you. Again, this is not telling you you're in a toxic relationship if your partner is making you step away from certain people. But most often, when people come out of toxic relationships, one thing they find out is their partners find reasons to create rifts, either between them and their family, them and their friends, them and a support system. That over time, progressively, their partner becomes their all, their
They
end
get
all and be
dependent.
all.
They
They
get
become
dependent.
so dependent on them because there's nobody around them. Like they
Mhm.
come and they're
Do
like,
you think, Kojo, do you think dependency is toxic?
again, this is what I'm saying. We
I
can
mean, to
see,
you,
no, we can, no, we
I'm
can
not
see
saying in general.
that at the end of toxic relationships, you go back and you see there's been some form of dependency created. Dependency in itself is not toxic. I think in relationships, I'm 100% dependent on my partner. My partner is 100% dependent on me. Like it's what makes a good relationship, right? However, we see that at the end of toxic relationships, you can find that form of unhealthy dependency that at the
Hmm.
time the relationship is going on is going to be very difficult to tell, right? But
Mm.
over time, and especially with isolation, this doesn't happen in a week. A person that doesn't walk into your life and say cut everyone off. No, it's just subtle, it's gradual. Then after like
Mhm.
5 6 years with them, you realize you have no friends, you have no social life,
Mhm.
your family has estranged you. Like you've just become this person who dated one person, and then suddenly you just cut everybody off.
But the thing is, if 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 they're hanging with you doing stuff, that will even be to me that will even be okay, right? Because if you don't have any social life, and that's even weird, right? Because if there's a difference between you becoming strange with people that your partner thinks is probably bad for you,
Bad
but then
people.
yeah, in the absence of that void, he's giving you positive something to feed that void. That would be
Mm,
different if they're
mm,
building you.
mm,
Like, okay, maybe you have bad friends, right? And they manipulate you, or it's
Mhm.
bad, whatever, like you're saying, and then now you don't really hang out with those people anymore. But
it's
then
something else.
you're something else, like your partner,
Mm,
you guys
mm,
are going out,
mm,
traveling, doing stuff.
mm,
That I don't really find fault with. It's
mm,
when you look back and we're like, man, everybody's gone, and I don't even do anything with my life. I'm just sitting on this couch,
mhm,
like, right?
mhm.
I think that is where the issue for me. That's where the issue
And
is.
I think you nailed it right on. You nailed it right on. And this is why I'm like, let's be very careful where we're looking at this analysis from.
Mhm.
At the end of the relationship, right? If you realize, well, I used to, before I met this guy, I used to spend all my time at the, or before I met this girl, I used to spend all my time at the barber shop. We just gossiping and getting high all the time. She came and
Mhm.
she's like, hey, you can't spend all your time at the barber shop. And so, hey, these are some healthy things to do. You can go to the gym. You can. So, yes, they're cutting you off from certain social circles, but they're
Mhm.
replacing them with healthier habits, right?
Yep,
And
yep.
again,
Mhm.
we all do that. As we're growing, as we're reconstructing our personalities, we take the bad things out, and sometimes it takes your partner or your relationship to let you know how bad some things are. You might
Yep.
not know exactly how much time you've been spending playing video games and wasting your time until you have a partner who comes in and is like, listen, we have to reduce that and replace that with this. So isolation is one of those delicate ones. I feel it's only at the end. I don't think you can look at your relationship right now and be like, oh, I've been isolated. Yeah, maybe you're not looking at all the good things he's replaced or she's replaced, right?
Yep, yep,
And
yep,
and
yep,
and
yep.
sometimes some people need to be isolated. Some people need to be put in cages and just help
Man,
prevent them from harming themselves. Like some
not
people
not
are
cages,
bad for
man.
themselves.
Come on, come on,
No.
nah,
Some people
come on,
need to
not
be
cages.
not
No.
literal
No.
cages, but you have to occupy them to stop them from ruining their own lives. Like I know people
Uh,
who, if you left them, especially if they're not dating, I know people who would go to a friend's house or hang out with their friends and they never go home. Like they
Oh,
just sitting there, just
maybe
wasting
they
their life away. And
maybe
then
they're in high school. Maybe they're in high school.
when this friend has something to do, they go on to the next friend and just keep wasting their lives away. All right. And so such people, you just stay at home, honey. We're not going anywhere today. Enough of that hairdressing salon thing. Sit here. Let's do something productive. Go to school or something. But yeah, some people have to be saved from themselves and not literal cages. Again, I take that statement back. But sometimes people have to be saved from themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you guys mention a couple of words that I feel like it has to be defined a little bit, like manipulation. What do you think about gaslighting and manipulation? To me, right, personally, wherever I see it, however it is,
Mhm.
well, not manipulate gaslighting, that is where I have a problem. Manipulation to some extent, I feel like there's a level that is
So gaslighting is a form of manipulation. If someone is gaslighting you, they are
hmm,
manipulating you.
no,
But not
that is
all
no.
manipulation is gaslighting. That's what I
So you feel
gaslighting
like
is one
manipulation is
time
like
type of
the how do you call it? The general
eh,
definition, and gaslighting is a form of it.
eh. So manipulation, yes. Gaslighting is a form, it's a subset of
And
so
what is it? What is gaslighting? How would
making
you
you think
define it?
making you think what you're seeing, what you're experiencing is not real. And you know, so basically telling you reality is not what you are perceiving it.
It's not like that. Meanwhile, that is exactly how the person is
Yeah,
seeing it. It's like,
absolutely.
oh no,
Oh,
it
that is
makes you
exactly what it is, right? And so there are certain phrases that people who like to gaslight people would often use, and there's an extensive list. But it's not what you think. Oh, really? Did I really say that? I never said that. Oh, I never did that. Oh, you didn't really see that, did you? Are you calling us all liars? Like these are normal phrases they would use just to sow some doubt, right? And gaslighting only works when you are able to successfully make you doubt your own perceptions of reality. So your
yep.
your your feet is firmly planted on ground, and they tell you, "Damn, your feet is planted in midair," and nothing you say makes them change their mind. And so now you begin to, am I flying? Like, why do I feel like I'm standing but I'm flying? And there's a movie, and that's where gaslighting got its name, right? There's a movie called
Hmm.
Gaslighting, and that's what made it popular, where the man would go and mess with the lights and make the woman think she's going crazy. Like, and it's terrible. It's a very terrible thing to do to someone, but people use it all the time. Our political leaders and.
But how do we, the way I think the way we look at gaslighting to be negative, manipulation to be negative, I just feel like sometimes we attach certain
Don't, don't,
emotions to
don't
it
come and tell
because
us
I can say
gaslighting
I'm
is
coming, I'm
positive.
coming. I'm not saying it's oh hell
He's
no,
about to
hell
say
no.
there's some positive to it.
Hey, AYU.
No, that is not what I'm gonna say. But when you talk about something like influence,
Mhm.
right? How is influence so different from manipulation? How?
How is influence different from manipulation?
Yep.
Oh,
Well,
interesting.
influence can be positive, right?
Good.
That's
So
the
when
Manipulation
I
is not.
difference.
say we attach positive,
No, but there
positive
are positive
emotions
words. There are positive ways. So instead of saying manipulate, you can say inspire. You can inspire someone to do something, change
Yeah.
their emotions towards something, but that's called inspiring. There's a word for it. If you're
mm,
manipulating someone, it's
mhm.
negative, right? If you're
So all that people need to do is to change the words.
Change the words, change the
Because I
reason,
want I want us to look at
change the reason
definition
you're doing the thing,
wise.
and you'd be fine.
The
Yeah.
I just want us to look at the definition, right, and
Mhm,
see if it's actually different,
mhm.
or it's just the fact that we put some words to be positive and some words to be negative in in
We did that
definition.
for
Are
a
they
reason, right?
different? Are they different?
No,
Because
AY,
then it
we
means
have
that
different.
all someone needs to do is to be like, oh, I'm trying to influence this person in a way. Meanwhile, it's
Mhm.
manipulation, right? But they know that if they say manipulate, they're going to have a problem. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to influence you. And everybody thinks it's positive, but sometimes it's a negative influence.
Yeah, but AY, again, it's interesting you bring this up, and I think this is one of those days. The book I was talking to you about the other day, 1984, is so apt.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways to make things like this difficult is to limit words, limit the way people can express things. Thankfully, we're not limited. There are ways to act and say things, words of
Mm-hmm.
meaning, and words of meaning for a reason. If you truly want to inspire change in someone and you call that manipulation, I'm sorry, you're doing it wrong. It's bad.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
for a lot of people. And again, we don't want you to leave the show and go look at your relationship and start calling your partner manipulative, toxic, or anything. That's not what we're here
Mm-hmm.
to do. But most of these things are difficult to tell, and they're difficult to tell for this very reason. I would use the example of someone who is into drugs and finally meets someone who isn't, who is trying
Mm-hmm.
to change that about the person, inspiring them to do better, to be better. So all the
Mm-hmm.
places you went that gave you access to the drugs, that made you in
Mm-hmm.
that company, they cut you off
Mm-hmm.
those. All the things you felt like the drug could do, they're helping you substitute that with good.
With something positive, yeah.
If you ask the person, why are you doing this for your partner? They're not going to say, oh, I'm manipulating them. No,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're going to use positive words because at the end of the day, that is the goal. Like, for example, when we talk people into going to seek help, going to rehab,
Mm-hmm.
that what is it called? The crazy, what's that thing called?
You don't manipulate them.
Intervention. The
Yeah, yeah,
intervention is not
yeah.
called
Mm-hmm.
Intervention.
manipulating.
Yeah, it's not. You don't say we're gonna manipulate you to go to AA meeting because you're
No,
drinking
I
Right?
mean,
coffee,
I
right?
understand,
So
right?
I
You guys
want
don't
us
get me
to. Mhm,
wrong. I'm coming. I
mhm,
understand it. I
mhm.
get it, right? I
Okay.
just feel like, we people are intelligent. People know what we're talking
So now
about,
you're
and
solving a
people
problem that
know.
hasn't arisen yet.
No, actually, people do that. I know. I'll
Mm.
give it an example of somebody that
What do you mean when you say people are intelligent? What do you mean? I didn't get that.
they know
They
the
can use
words
the. Mhm.
have meanings,
Oh, you mean the guy
and
that's doing the manipulation is he's in he or
yes,
she's
Mhm.
intelligent and
would know that, yeah, okay, if I say
yeah.
if I say I want to manipulate this person, it's gonna sound negative. Let me say, oh, let me influence. I'm trying to influence
Oh,
you in a
that's another
positive
angle,
way.
and that's toxic
You
though.
get it. You exactly. That is
Mhm.
why I brought it up.
Mhm.
It's not like I
Yeah,
don't understand. I know what you're
we.
saying. But then sometimes people understand that words carry meanings, and
So
we
they say all the
attach certain,
right words.
they exactly,
Hmm.
meanwhile they are so terrible.
This is why AY. Have you seen why I always like to say we have to wait? Most of these things are post mortem.
Mm.
If you try to do it on a live, this is why we don't conduct autopsies on live people. Like it's going to be very difficult, right? Because sometimes your autopsy can kill the relationship. You wait till it's dead, then you can do a good, thorough.
Mm.
Yes,
That's
it's
a good
difficult.
point though.
It's
That's a
difficult.
good point.
You might think, they say when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right?
Yep. Yep.
Sometimes your own bad behavior might make you think someone is manipulating you when all they're doing is
Oh,
trying
but
to make you a better person.
sometimes you need to walk around with a hammer because you
No,
never know. You
no,
might have to knock
no.
something down.
Do you know the funny thing? And again, I am not going to repeat any of the jokes from Trevor again, but the idea I'm going to attribute to him. But wherever you'd see someone bludgeon someone to death with a hammer, there
Hmm.
was a hammer
Mhm.
present. That's all we can say. You're
Yeah,
saying you should walk around with a hammer, but
I
the
said
only thing
sometimes,
that is
right?
consistent with
Mhm.
people who have been hammered is that there was a
The
hammer
hammer,
present.
yeah. Yeah, but
And so
sometimes you
yeah.
need a hammer, keep in
Uh-uh.
your trunk.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
But you guys,
why do we need extra extra set, not set, extra wheel in the trunk? Why do
Yeah.
manufacturers put it
Yeah.
in there?
Yeah. So that we would
mm,
use it when we need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why does it stay in the car though?
Because you never know when you'd need it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
but that
never know.
this is a hammer is not one of those
Having it
things.
having it doesn't mean you should use it.
okay,
My goodness.
you guys, you mentioned something that I
Anyway,
think we
now that
should.
he's triggered us,
We
can we drop one baby Yoda meme?
Oh my god. Yeah,
Please.
drop baby Yoda
Thank
for
you.
there's
Thank you.
no way God told Noah to put two mosquitoes on the ark. God did.
Well,
Baby
mosquitoes,
Yoda.
they
God
did it
did.
good. The mosquito soup.
Did you just turn
They
into
better.
DJ Khaled? Okay, God did that. We hear you.
Well, you
But
guys mentioned something, could you?
mhm,
I want us to talk about that a little bit about how
okay.
sometimes our negative traits
Mhm,
would see certain traits and think, oh, that is toxic, but that is because we have some complex,
mm,
that whenever you're with somebody, because of your insecurities or your inferiority complexes, you feel like other people are toxic or your friends are toxic or this person is not healthy for me. But in reality, it's because we it's because we have certain complexes and we have certain um behaviors that we're not able to identify.
I agree with you 100. I think even going about generally when people start talking to you and they start using those phrases, to me it rings alarm bells, right? Oh my god,
Mhm.
this person is so toxic. Oh my god, and my boss is so toxic. Oh my god, if everybody is toxic and you're the one reporting on everybody that's toxic, to
Might be you,
me, the
huh?
only consistent figure
Common
in
Variable.
this story
denominator.
is
The
is
common
is you,
denominator is
right?
you.
Again, I don't like us labeling people as toxic,
Buzzwords,
or
man. Buzzwords.
yeah, nor being labeled as toxic. I get.
Mhm.
I don't think it. Even if you're in a toxic relationship, right? Going
Mhm.
about calling your partner toxic doesn't improve the relationship or fix it. I don't think it's a good thing in any way, right? And
Mhm.
when you're out of it, yes, you can look back and be like, man, that was not a good place to be, right? It's a
Mhm.
lot easier, but generally, I don't like when people try to one preempt something. So they see something
Mhm.
and they think they can foretell the end, right? Oh, I've seen this movie before. This is definitely what's going to happen. And so her partner or his partner comes and starts a
It'll be a
story.
remake of the movie.
And the minute they start the story, like, this happened to one of my friends. Obviously, this is where they are going to go with this, and they're coming to manipulate me. And you know the people who get manipulated the most. Me, nobody can manipulate me. Or me, nobody can manipulate me. They are the people who get manipulated the most. And generally, people do this thing, and I really want us to be one. Let's be self-aware if we're doing that.
Mhm.
It's just not a healthy thing, labeling your own relationship and trying to find fault in your own relationship and trying to make everything look like something you saw in a movie or you heard somewhere. Like you hear
Mhm.
your friend's story, you hear your mother's story, your father's story. Here's a bad story. You don't project it onto other people. They only asked you to stop eating ice cream at 9 p.m. They're not manipulating you. That is not manipulation.
You're taking away their happiness and their
Oh
support
my God,
system.
Jesus! If ice cream is your support,
You're
if ice
taking
cream is your
away
support system,
Wait,
you need new
somebody's
friends.
support system and somebody's happiness.
Mm.
How
how
don't you
can
see that as manipulation?
how can ice cream be your
Your support
happiness or
system.
your support system?
You never know. You
I
never
mean,
know.
sugar
Hmm.
uh, makes us happy, right? I get it. Triggers whatever that thing. I forgot what it is. It triggers some of your brain. The same
Dopamine and
whatever
stuff.
that. Yeah, I get it. If it makes you happy, it might be bad for you, right? But it
Mhm.
makes you happy. Fine. Occasionally, randomly, yeah, you just grab a bite. But you can't say sugar is your support system. Like you going downhill. I'm
Well,
sorry.
we talk about,
Gonna be on
I mean,
my
some
600
people,
pound
I
sister
mean,
videos. You might
True.
end up over there.
Anyway,
Oh,
guys,
Mm-hmm.
we're getting closer to the end of the show. I
Okay.
Do you guys have any instances? I need like in your
real
life.
life, you need to
Yes,
test data.
Mm-hmm.
I need real life data
On
as to
what?
What?
on situations where you felt like it was toxic
Mm,
or maybe manipulated or
mm,
gaslighted. Any of
mm,
it,
mm.
do you have real life
Oh,
data?
I do.
Examples,
Mm,
Oh, I
yeah.
do.
mm.
Quizzy,
You want
Quizzy,
to
let me tell you
listen?
the story.
Go ahead.
AY is not part of this, but listen. One Sunday morning, got dressed, came to the studio ready to host the show. This girl shows up with a red hair, and then she starts telling me, I'm toxic. I'm toxic. I'm toxic. Man, it almost
Mm,
affected my psychological health. I had to
mm.
talk to, like, it's so
Therapy,
bad.
therapy.
I needed therapy to get through it.
Mm.
Like, if
I feel
people,
you. I feel
I,
you, brother.
but back to back to if you're your worst question. Do I have real life instances? Not really. Um, I don't do good post mortem analysis. Normally, when things are past, I want them to stay past. Right?
Mm,
They're back
Mm,
there for a reason. I don't go looking through the nooks and crannies to find new ways to hurt myself. But
mm,
I'm sure there've been instances, not just relationships, right? There's been instances, even business relationships. Some of them have been very toxic, right? Where people
mm.
are
mm-hmm.
stealing your money and they make it look like, oh, bugger, why this small money you won't dash it?
Yep.
Like it
Yeah.
can be
He
like that.
said, he
People come,
said, he said, dash, dash,
yeah, they'll be like, won't you?
dine and dash.
Yeah, yep. Pretty much, they want to use you as a dine and dash. Once you're done, they just. But yeah, yeah. Quizzy might have some personal stories.
Oh nah, me I don't. I don't even recognize toxic or toxicity. I don't. I walk
You
around with a
don't?
no. I walk around with a hammer. So if you bring a nail, I'm knocking.
You got a problem. You got a
You
real
I walk
problem.
do.
around. I walk
Quincy
around with.
has a big problem.
You see one of those yellow hammers from Home Depot?
That's a sledgehammer.
I keep it. Yeah,
That's a
F,
sledgehammer.
F around and find out.
Oh no, no, no,
I
no, no,
walk
no,
around with a sledge.
no, no, no violence would be tolerated on the show.
Oh my god.
Nah, but
You
yeah,
guys.
I
The only
You
hammer we
guys.
acknowledge is MC Hammer.
just I've
Oh
been
my
around
god.
people that I think personally, when I get close to people, I put them under a microscope. That's just me. I
Mm,
put every so I've been around people that I sit back and look at. I usually take myself from it to look at it
Mm-hmm.
holistically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're inside and you're looking
You
at
don't
it,
see
it's
it.
you don't even see it. So yeah, I sit back and I ask myself, I stand in the mirror and it's weird. I ask myself, like, what are you even getting from this? Like, what is this about? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So where I've been around people that I pull myself away, like, okay, this is not it. You know,
mm,
you said one wrong thing. I'm like, yeah, okay. Second time, third time, no, okay. Yeah, that's who you are, you know? So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I've
yeah.
seen how, I don't know if it, yeah, maybe it's toxic, but I've seen people do
Mm-hmm.
things that don't align
mm,
with my ideologies or my beliefs or my whatever, the way I want to live, right?
mm,
So I just,
Yeah.
I mean, I had the people that I used to be friends with, partying every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I haven't seen them in like 5 years, right? And my life is better. I had to let them go because
mhm,
it was so. It's just the things that I think everybody you look at yourself and
Mm-hmm.
what you believe in, how you. It's not even sometimes about believe. It's how do you want to live, right?
mm,
So
Yeah.
how this is how I want to live, and
mhm.
your your square doesn't fit in my triangle,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Pretty much.
So chuck the deuces and move on. You're grown. It's not that serious.
Move
Like,
on.
you
Yeah.
gotta live. Life goes on,
I
right?
mean,
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah,
Well, could you go ahead?
I was just going to throw one of the characteristics of a toxic
Mm-hmm.
relationship is that belittling, right? Constantly
Mm-hmm.
feeling like you're being belittled in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, again, most of these things you would not know until you've left. You remember, sometimes for some people, not for everybody, but you leave your relationship and then everything starts to fall in place. Like everything is clicking. Like you suddenly become the champ. You can't lose. And it's because
Yeah,
you're around
yeah.
people who are telling you, man, you're not good enough, man. Look, like, you're not going to be able to do it. Why are you applying for this opportunity? Really, you think they'll pick someone like you? Like, they constantly belittle
That's
you.
crazy
They,
though.
oh yeah, people
That's
do that.
Like
wild.
I've never
That's wild.
witnessed that before, but I've heard people talk about people
Yeah,
that know say
That's
stuff like,
yeah,
and I'm
wild.
like,
yeah.
that's super wild. Like it is.
I
Yeah.
think for me and my experiences, I've seen it come more from family than partners, right? Like parents. Some
Oh yeah.
parents are so not supportive. Like, hey, really, you're applying to the university? Hey, now who in your family has gone to the university? Media, you
Oh
come and be
yeah.
a painter like me. Oh, you know that kind of thing. Sometimes, like when you cut them out of your life, you see like it's like a rocket ship. You just take off.
Yeah.
There's some people who don't see anything good in you. Like they're never going to give you like sometimes people don't have to help you, cheer you on, all that. No, no, none of that.
Mhm.
That's fine. But they would actively say things that are not necessary. Like they wouldn't have died if they hadn't said it. Right? Oh,
Oh
you're
yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
overachiever. Oh, you want too much. Hey, why are you like some of those things? Like sometimes to me, it's a sign of being in a toxic relationship. If they're
Mhm.
not lifting you up, if they're not supporting your dreams, if you're not growing around them, and they
Mhm.
constantly sometimes some people meet people and they see where they are. And for me, the only reason you belittle your partner is when you are insecure. They see where they are. Maybe they are the manager at a local diner and then you want to go to college. Of course, when you're done with college, you're going to come and be somebody. So they would have to find a way to work with their own insecurities by making sure they belittle you. Make sure you
That's
always feel
wild.
bad. They don't
But
want to upgrade themselves, they want to pull you down to the doldrums with them.
yeah, yeah. Because now that you're talking and I'm like you're speaking, I remember one time I told a family member that I told cool,
Mhm.
like cool, I told my man, you know what? I kind of want to start a business. Like this 9 to 5, I want to start a business. And instead, you see, they could have said anything like, "What kind of business?" Right? Or
Mhm.
how do you want to
What are you
do it?
thinking?
Right? The
Yeah.
first thing
Yeah.
that came to my mind was like, you know how they, hey, have you ran a business before? And I'm looking at it like, who comes out of their mother's womb and they've run a business before?
Mhm.
Like,
Absolutely.
there's a start, there's a
Nobody.
starting point for everybody, right? So
Definitely.
as they say, we all like piggyback off Kojo, what Kojo was saying. We all so worried about, like, I know in the day and age of social media, all the buzzwords, everybody's worried about their friends, a hater, right?
Mhm.
You have family members that are haters too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your
Yep.
last name,
Yep.
share last names with people
Yep.
that are haters too.
Mm-hmm.
So look at everybody,
Yep.
not just your
Yep.
friends.
Yep. And with toxic relationships, I don't think it's just, our romantic relationships. Sometimes even our
Mhm.
family. Sometimes we have very bad toxic relationship with some of our family
That's
members.
true.
And it's one of those things for a lot of family, they don't even see they're doing it. Some of them have done it your entire life. Like they've always seen you as this kid. And so
Yep.
you're not smart
Hmm.
enough, you're not intelligent enough. Even after you've done everything, you have your degrees and everything, they still see you like that kid who used to pee on themselves. And I was like,
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to update your beliefs. Like the world is changing. So those people would sometimes they're the most toxic. They're the ones we need to cut out. Like sometimes our partners, our romantic relationships cannot scar us as much as some family members can.
Because you
It's
believe in
true.
the family, you grew up
You
with
do.
them, and you have
You hold
some
them dear.
attachment, right?
Mhm.
So even
Yes.
when they're saying all these
Yes.
bad things to you,
Yes.
something deep down you keep telling you
They're
they
gonna
don't mean
change.
harm.
They don't
They don't
mean
And
mean
it.
it's
harm.
easy to
Yeah.
believe it. It's easy
Yep.
to believe it. When a stranger walks up to you and tells you, you know this, you're
You
like,
look at him like,
how
man,
you
get
gonna
out of
know?
here. Like how
But if
you
the
don't
people
know me.
who grew up, like if especially if it's a mother or a father, hey, when
That's
those people are gaslighting
crazy.
you, you can't even know they're gaslighting you.
That's
Hey, me,
crazy.
I brought you into this world. You and I, who would know if it's raining outside? But it's
Yeah.
raining outside.
Hmm.
No, 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 no. It's not rain. It's in your head. You ask your siblings if it's raining outside. How can you be like this? Why do you always want to be weird? Why don't do you want me to die? That's what parents would start
Yeah.
saying. You want me to die
Yeah.
and leave you? You think it's raining outside? I just die and leave you. Like
Die,
how?
just die, die,
How?
die.
How? Like
Yeah.
it's really bad, especially when you're doing business with family. That's where a lot of that gaslighting comes.
I
He's
honestly I
just your
think
uncle. He's trying to make a quick buck. Yeah, by stealing
yeah.
from me.
Honestly, right? I you mentioned something, but I think this is when it's necessary
Mhm,
to actually do some introspection with any kind of relationship, be it family,
mhm,
romantic.
mhm.
Oh,
Dig
one
it. If
thing.
it's gonna hurt you, do it. Sometimes you
Mm.
need that pain. You need to
You
Easy,
need to have
easy,
feel
it.
the pain
The
easy to
the
say.
the
Easy
hard.
to
to
say.
activate to
Yeah,
activate some senses in your
yeah. The
brain.
hard
Get
Do
out
it.
of here.
conversations, right? The hard conversations need to be. You need to have those
Do
too.
it. Do it
Just
because
do it.
sometimes it's
And
usually after the thing has passed. That is when you can actually you're out of it. That is when you can actually sit and have um an objective view about it. When you're in it, you don't really see it. You
yo,
can't
yo,
tell if
there
your
are
uncle
people,
is
right?
going.
If yeah, there are people that family people that I thought, oh man, if I get away from them or if I don't talk to them, I didn't know how I was gonna. In my
Li-
mind, those
I
voices
think that
said,
was it.
how
Mhm.
you gonna survive? Like it's gonna be a new
Yep.
because you're used to being around them all the time and they say dumb stuff to you, you just take it. Some people will pass it off as jokes, but it's not jokes, right?
It's not.
And then you get away from them and you realize, oh man, I should have gotten away from them 50 years ago.
Long ago.
You
Yep.
should have been going. So
Mm.
usually I think some introspection also
Ah,
helps
Mhm.
us to
yeah.
identify certain relationship, and that brings me to the last point I want us to talk about, right? How do we heal, or how do we, I'm not going to say get out of it because we are not going to tell people to get out of it, but if you do identify that you're in a toxic relationship, how do you heal? What are some of the things you look at? How do you go or move forward?
I hate to be the one to say this, but for especially the family ones,
It's not possible.
hey, it's possible. You need some professional help because, like, some of the daddy issues and mommy issues, and Cain and Abel issues people have developed. This one, you need professionals to help you, right?
Oh yeah.
Normally, especially with romantic relationships, dealing with a breakup process and things, going through that grief and letting it go often helps, but most people don't break up with their mothers and their siblings and their
Mm-mm.
parents
No,
and
no,
toxic
that
family members. So
no.
for those ones, it's a bit more difficult to, and you don't even know how much it influences your life until you see major life shifts. Like you
Yep.
see it and this is why people tend to call these things like generational curse and all that. Like, people do things to you so bad for like 30 years, and before you realize you're in a marriage, right? And you're not fully opening up to your partner because your dad or your mom just lied to you for so long that you have these jaded
Yeah, yeah,
walls, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
it's easy for us to say, oh, just leave. Like, for me, I don't think leave is a good answer to any toxic relationship. Because yes, for a lot of people, they only think of romantic relationship. Yeah, just leave. Yeah, but when your dad is the toxic one, how do you just leave? How do you just
Mhm.
leave when it's your
You
sibling,
just
when
leave.
it's your kid, it's your
Well, you
child?
leave and
You
he's still texting
leave.
you.
How do
You,
you
and
leave?
then he's still
It's not
texting
that
you. It's like,
easy,
you
right?
leave and he's still texting you.
So
Your dad's
sometimes
still
it's
texting
not
you.
an option. Sometimes it's not an option. Like, I
Well,
don't know.
in this instance, I'm not gonna understand because that is true. For you, usually for certain circumstance that we prescribe,
Mhm.
if this is toxic, leave. It's the fact that we've not been in such situation before, and so you think it's
Yep.
so easy to
And we
just be
make it
like, get up
so
and leave.
easy. Like, when you hear, even with romantic relationships, right? When you hear people's stories, like, I would have left his ass a minute. Oh, really? Oh,
It's easy
really,
to say
Ajubi?
that when you're on the outside.
And
Yeah.
it's so funny. It's so funny that the people are like, I would have left his ass long ago. Two
Yeah.
weeks later, they tell you their story and like, it's not easy, yeah. Yeah, I have to. I
Once
have
you
to
leave,
work with him to. Yeah, which yours you have to work. Someone else you would have
you
left.
leave. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so easy when we're standing on the
That's how it is,
outside.
bro. It's
It's
like,
so easy
girl,
to
leave.
be. Yeah.
Girl, leave. You deserve better. Leave right
Oh
like
my
yesterday.
god.
And then when it gets to your turn, yeah, I know I told you to leave, but mine is a little different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
tried.
I don't know, but
Ah
even
man,
even as
human beings were
friends.
funny, right? Human beings were
Yep.
funny, right?
Even
it's,
as friends,
it's
let's be
interesting.
mindful. And this is why even in the show, I've tried to make it no, like, we're not telling you to get up and go leave your relationship. Like, if you have these friends, who make all your problems look like that. Like it's so easy to fix. You really are struggling with this. Like 5 minutes, I would have dealt with it. And but when it comes to this, they have to be surgical and operational and look at all sides. That is how you know
strategic.
you have a toxic friendship. When it's you, they don't care. They have no skin in the game. They just chopping things off. Look, leave that person. Don't talk to this person.
Yep.
When it's them, it's like, oh, we have to come on. We have to be sensitive now. We're not savages. We're human beings. Let's hear the other side. Hey, cool. You know,
Oh,
other side
there is
exists.
another
When it was
side.
me, you're like, cut it off. So, like, no, 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 no. It
And
can't
that
be.
is what people, I mean, the good saying goes, don't never say never. Like you never, especially when you've not been in a situation before, don't say it can never happen to me.
Mm,
Like
No. Oh, I
that
have
that
one.
saying has a way. Yeah. I'm
Another
listening.
one that I think uh Ghanaians and their pastors. Don't let them
hey,
threaten you with, oh, somebody's gonna kill you, so bring money for prayer. Yo, the only thing guaranteeing life is death. If it's your time, it's your time. You will go. There's nothing you
we
gotta
are
do
not going
about
to
it.
go there.
Chrissy,
So
this is my show,
We're
and
not
no,
going to go there. If you bring that one and you set me off, that's 3 hours.
no. We're done.
I have
Don't
the
no,
list. I have the list of. You want me to go through it? Like
no, no,
these are
no,
all the pastors. These are the amounts they took. You want me to
no,
start?
no. We don't want to know that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just say, I just say,
AY said she wasn't going to read any more
keep,
comments.
keep your
I'm good.
money.
Oh, you guys, hold on. Oh my
Nobody
goodness,
is gonna kill you. Keep your money.
I
If you die,
didn't
it's your
see
time.
this.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael said supporting Arsenal FC is toxic, but as an ASU against
Arizona State University rep.
ASU rep, the toxicity of Arsenal is a blessing. Your time will come. Manchester United, you people, your time will come.
Wait, I didn't know Kwame works for Arizona State University.
No, 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 no. ASU is
Against
against
supporters union.
supporters union.
Oh,
That's
They
that's
only
true
do
if yeah.
against.
They do against. That's true if yeah. So the change in behavior means you truly are moving away from being toxic and want to be a better person. Hmm. Okay. And they issue the disclaimer in fine speech by stating how past relationship didn't work. And then you get close to them and you see why they did not work. Oh, well,
Yep.
that is
I
true.
have example
Yep.
of that, but not today.
That's another day. One day we have to tell horror stories.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
Thank-
all the things that lead to your breakup or the end of your relationship, they told you on the first day too.
Yep. Yeah.
They told
Exactly.
you exactly
He
what
told
happened.
you. And
It's
you
like
all
guys,
the
they
problems were
tell
there.
you, and
you
you're
guys,
like, oh,
hold on. When I get a horror story, I'm gonna invite you guys
you
to my
know,
studio again. I would
At
have
this
this
at this age,
conversation.
you're waiting for a horror story.
aren't you past horror stories?
Aren't you past horror stories?
I don't have horror
No, no. At
stories.
this point, you should have
At
had your
this point,
horror
you're walking
stories.
around with a sledgehammer. One horror, boom, out. A
No,
sign of horror story
but
out.
Kwesi, we're not kidding. We're not kidding. Sometimes Rashid, you nailed it right on.
Excessive
You know,
over
my
dependency is toxic
ex-boyfriend, he was
behavior.
A, B, C, D, and E, and then he did this and he did that, and he two
Yeah,
weeks
go call
later,
him. Go call that
you
dude. Let
you
him come
realize
do
exactly why the guy did exactly everything he was
Yep,
accused of doing, and
yep,
it's like, ah,
yep.
this is how this one is also going to end. Would you go figures? Would you look at that?
it. Everybody leaves me. Everybody leaves me. Oh, what you think I'm going to do?
Go figures.
And Kwashi said, could you add this one for the gaslighting?
Mm,
In quotes, it's not a big deal.
mhm, mhm,
On me, I don't remember,
mhm,
especially because it doesn't affect them. That
mhm,
is true.
mhm.
Also, add when they say you are nitpicking, you are this, you are not being serious, that is also part of gaslighting. You add that.
Okay. Oh.
And then Mrs. Song said, "Why this your hair, dear? Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you."
Hey, Mr. Song. Let me say something.
Oh yeah, Mr. Song, happy birthday.
I'm collecting the price for AY. So anybody that you can't just come say it with your chest. If you want to pay cash. I need cash out.
You could see that what
Okay.
they did and didn't
Hello.
invite us. You want to go and collect another. Hey,
Yeah, I'm collecting another one.
uh,
Allow cash out.
I take cows.
We take only cows,
livestock.
exclusively cows.
Yeah, I take all of that too.
No, you guys can do better, please. What are you going to use
No.
the cows for?
Hey, give me
Sell it.
five
You know
thousand
how much
cows
a
and you
cow
know.
costs?
Anyway, let's move on.
Hmm.
Karen said this toxicity thing. You have a
She's
lot of
been,
story,
she got a
Karen.
lot of stories. She's been in and out
He's
of
in
it.
in and out. Delali said, AY with a kinky hair. Yep. Today I went kinky.
Price going up. The price going up.
Exactly. Rashi said we are in the comments. We in the
We in the
comments would
comments.
like to dissociate with Kosi Sludge Hammer comment. That's a toxic way to deal with people who want to F around. Well, I don't think we can find a better way to deal with people who want to F around. If you think there's a way, let us know.
If you F around, boom. Sledgehammer.
Family toxicity. Just remember, just remember that no one loves you more than
Oh,
you love you. You
oh,
cannot make people happy at the
Fact.
expense of
oh.
yours.
He just
Fact.
That's
nailed it right
true.
on. He just
Fact.
That's
nailed it right
true.
on.
Nobody's gonna love
And
you more than you.
that's how toxic family relationships perpetuate. They stay along because we think, oh my god, these people they're doing out of love.
Loves they
Sometimes
love, yeah.
They don't. No, no, no.
Yeah,
sometimes
that's
it's
Envy,
just
jealousy,
crazy.
whatever they do, it's not love.
hey,
Hmm.
yeah, maybe it's love. Maybe it's their own warped perception of love. And again, maybe they don't even know they're doing it. And that's why, again, telling people just leave is not the answer. Like, if it's your
Yeah.
dad, and genuinely, they don't even know they're gaslighting you or anything. Sometimes the only way to deal with it is to work through it, maybe go to family therapy with them, drag your 60-year-old dad with you as like
Therapy
dad.
costs money, bro.
You know, my therapist said I should come and tell them about my problems, but I just decided to take you along. Let's just go. I'll show him. Here it
The
is.
therapy
Like,
it costs money. If
you
you're
know,
It
not,
does.
if you
It
don't like where
does.
you are, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. Move.
Eish, easy. Oh. Uh, Kwesi,
Take a
Kwesi is
step.
already sitting on a couch. He's just preparing for the therapy he is going to be needing in a couple of years with ideas like that.
Yeah,
You're not a
move.
tree.
I
Well,
didn't want to. I
guys.
didn't want to stay. I don't want to stay in Chicago again. I left. Right.
Be
Yeah,
there, be there
that's
and
true. It
pretend.
wasn't that easy, right?
It was easy. I
You
just
didn't
woke
just
up.
get up and leave.
I literally did everything in 2 weeks.
Hmm.
You
Okay, well, good for you.
good for you. You have the strength. For me, I don't
Yeah.
really have the strength like that. So I'm gonna think
Eh,
about it a couple of
Cry about
months,
it. Pray
cry
about
about it,
it.
pray about
Think
it,
about
you know,
it.
think
Eat
about
about
it.
it. Drink
Yeah,
about
AY,
it.
before
drink
we go, I have a
about
meme
it.
for Kwesi. This is just for Kwesi. Can I share it with him?
Hear me. Hear
Okay.
me.
I seriously need a speed bump between my brain and my mouth.
I already have speed bumps.
No, Kwesi, they've been eroded.
Imagine if I
Erosion
didn't
has
have
taken
speed
it
bumps.
away.
Imagine if I didn't have speed bumps.
Amanda is
Amanda is
asking if
here. She
African
said,
parents are going with
"And
us to the therapy.
therapy? You are not serious.
Amanda,
You
you're
are
not kidding. It's
joking.
true. They're not
They
going to
won't
show
go
up.
anywhere. They are not showing up.
So bring the therapist to the house. Tell them
And they can snap your ass from the house.
you're having a potluck and you're inviting your friend who's the therapist to come grab lunch. And then when you guys are
Oh
eating, you
my
start.
god.
Make sure it's
Yeah.
fufu so they have their hands like in the soup.
They can't
They
run.
can't just get up and eat. And then you
Yeah.
gotta set them up.
But aside everything, we have to also offer some solutions, right? I think we said you can't leave, but that's not all. There are things people can do.
Personally, leave. I don't have any
See,
solution for you. I don't.
see,
I promise I don't have any
It's
solution.
one. Leaving is
Leave.
one.
no, it's just one solution. There's a
Leaving is
couple.
one of
There's
the
a few. There's a
solutions.
few. Yeah, it's one of the solutions. But
Yeah. One other one I can sort of suggest. Again, you don't have to take this. I am not. But but
me, I like to get away from the
take a step
incompetence,
back.
take a
Take
step
a step
and
back.
then look at it and
I
see.
don't want to be that person blaming the
Yeah,
victim,
but
right?
sometimes when I look at it
But
and realize this is not even worth my time, I keep moving. You know, it's just
yes,
You know what,
if you
guys?
can leave, if you can't, again, I'm not one to blame the victim, but they say a fool's balls, even a fool's balls, you didn't step on it twice, right? When they step
Uh-huh.
on your balls, you have to move your balls and
When
put
they
it.
step on your schwa.
Yeah, you have to put it away. Sometimes, and again, I use this in business, right? If you do go into business with someone, the first time you're trusting, you don't put any security features in place, and they take your
Due
money.
diligence.
Next time you have, cover four. You have to get like four different layers of protection for your money. I think there are some people in our lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are toxic, but there are ways to deal with them,
Mm-hmm,
especially
mm-hmm,
if you can't leave, especially if cutting them out is not an option. Just, you don't give them the chance to step on your something. You just pack your something away.
step on your schwa.
It's one thing. Yeah, yeah. Like being aware and being, I think that the mental dexterity it takes to navigate spaces, right? Like if I know that person A is going to do these things, well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can, if it's this particular issue, I go to person C. If it's going to play football or doing something that doesn't require any, I would definitely roll with person A. So yes, sometimes cutting people off is an option, but maybe they're a sibling, maybe it's a dad, maybe it's one of those relationships. Learning how to live with them, knowing when to bring certain issues to them. Your mom wouldn't understand when you're emotional and breaking down about schoolwork. So when you need someone to go and break down to, go to your dad, right? Go to the family member who would give you some space to express certain things and
That's
help you
true.
build, right? You should know, okay, ma is for business and dad is for emotional support. Once you get to know that, you can be able to navigate the space. It's not like just leave or don't talk to
Yeah,
anybody or block off.
yeah. You put it
Fine.
right on.
Sometimes, yes, some of the
You
issues
just
your
can't
kids would
leave.
give you, you need to run to your dad and go and cry. Yeah, you can't just cut your kids off. You can't
Mm.
just cut them off because they are being toxic. Yeah, you have
Mm.
to
For
find
them
someone
kids,
else
man.
to, take some of the heat off you. So yeah, definitely better habits and finding support systems, right? And please, especially in
And
our
you
romantic
mentioned
relationships,
you
let's not.
mentioned that. Continue.
In our romantic relationship, let's be active. Let's pay attention to not being cut off. Like, don't isolate yourself. Don't throw away all your friends just because you want to pursue this thing. It often leads to a lot of harm. Make
Yep.
sure, yes, you're keeping healthy friendships and bringing your partner into the friend group instead of letting them take you out of your friend group. Most often, it helps. Like,
Nope.
no. What I'm saying is build a system that accommodates your partner, right? Don't cut off all your
Okay.
systems just because you
Okay.
want to be, but you have to be able to navigate these things, make new friends, couple friendship. Like,
Mhm.
and now you can't go on couples date, but when you have a partner, go on couple days, do things like that. All I'm saying is find a way to not get isolated. If you make one person your world, it's not even sometimes their fault. If you labor them too much, if they're your pastor, your preacher, your therapist,
They get
it's just too
tired.
much for one person and they would
Yeah,
implode.
they get
So
tired.
yes, you can be in a relationship. Your partner can be your partner, but they're not your business advisor. You don't ask them how to do your taxes. Use the right tool for the right job, and it'll help you.
Call your accountant.
Yep.
Anyway. So
Stay woke. Stay woke.
if you're just listening or just joining in, oh, to the people that are listening, you might not see my hair. I would recommend
Red
that
hair. Red hair.
I would recommend you come join, watch the YouTube channel, and then look at my hair. Everybody's talking about my ginger hair and my kinky hair. I'm loving it actually.
Carry. Ginger.
Anyway. We had an interesting conversation around toxic relationship with family, friends, and romantic partners, or any kind of ships you're in, situationship, whatever ship. And if you're just joining, please like, share, and invite your
Subscribe.
friends to listen to us. Subscribe to our channel, guys. We need you to do this. We need you to do this. And we've come to the end of the show, guys. And any last words for my honorable guest? And then we end the show.
Hmm.
Um, I'll say stay woke.
Stay woke.
We
Stay
stay
woke.
woke.
Stay woke.
Stay
Keep your
woke.
eyes open. It's not just your friends, your family too. Everybody,
Mhm.
anybody can get it. Okay,
Hmm.
it can come from anybody.
Hmm.
It
So
could.
yeah, the BS can come from anywhere. Everybody,
Okay.
anybody. So Stay sharp.
Kojo, what's
So
your last word?
yeah, I mean my last word. Before I go, I'll share my one of my memes, please.
Oh my goodness.
How to politely tell someone they're stupid. We go like, wisdom has been chasing you, but you have always been faster. That's a nice way, very
Oh my
diplomatic.
Mm.
goodness.
Again, it's a Baby Yoda meme. I think Baby Yoda should start charging for some of these memes
I
because
mean, don't people get tired from
of Baby
running?
Yoda.
No, from running. So eventually, the
No, no.
wisdom will
Trust
catch
me.
up with them, right?
Trust me. Some people never get tired. They can run all day.
Mm.
Oh
Ultra,
my
ultra
god.
marathon,
All
ultra marathoners.
my last words. Generally, we should first be mindful how we look at our relationships, especially when you're going to go look for toxic stuff. Um,
Mm.
and it might not be toxic. You might just be a terrible person who needs new friends. All they're doing is reorganizing your friend closet. But yeah, let's be very mindful. Most of these things, the fact that you see one or two of these things does not mean everything, right? There's always a full story. There's always two sides to the story.
Sorry.
And most often in doing anything, we should be very mindful and try to see big picture. But I really hope nobody's in a very toxic, bad relationship. It's difficult to sit on the outside and tell everybody what you would have done when you were in their situation. But
Yeah, right.
funny enough, we live our own lives, and then people look at our lives and like, oh, you should have done this. Oh, that's easy. You should have, and then that is where we realize there are sides to the story. But today, I
Yeah.
just want the message to be more positive. It can get better. It's not always dim and gloom and all that. We can build healthy relationships. We can be better, and so I hope everybody does better and we get good relationships. I don't want to hear my friends are in toxic relationships, except only one friend of mine.
Nobody's gonna ask you who, but now that we've come to the end of the show,
I was going to say they were going to be the
and
first to speak, but hey, I didn't need to.
now that we've come to the end of it, because he said stay woke, and Kojo is telling you
Stay
and
woke.
reassuring you that there is light at the end of the tunnel, light as bright as my hair color. But I'm gonna tell you that is a nice way of telling you deal with it. But
Crazy, we have to
gonna
dye
be
our
fine.
beards.
Yeah, what
You're
color?
gonna be fine, guys. And
Maybe
yeah, we
pink.
talked about toxic relationship and we looked at how different types manipulation. We defined it, and yes, it's unique. You might not be in toxic relationship, even though all the things we've mentioned might apply to you. It doesn't mean it's toxic. It might be from you. There are a lot of moving parts to this. So analyze it carefully and don't think what you're saying means go and leave your partner or cancel your family or your boss. Deal with no, that's not what you're saying. It's just for you, it's just to bring the awareness, okay? And so yeah, today we come to the end of a very wonderful show. And from the tribe, what do we say?
Stay woke and have a great week.
It's
Oh,
bye.
Bye.
Happy
goodbye.
Mother's Day. Happy
Happy
Mother's Day
Happy
Happy
to all
Mother's
Mother's
Day.
Day.
wonderful
Happy Mother's
people.
Day, guys.
And yeah.